very good evening. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. We're tracking a very disturbing case from Bengaluru, where a techie couple was found dead at their rented apartment. 32-year-old Sumant and his 29-year-old wife Padmavati are at the center of what police are treating as a murder-suicide case. Let's first take you through what exactly happened. According to the police, Sumant and Padmavati had an argument at their residence on the morning of August 14th. The dispute allegedly escalated, with Sumant hitting Padmavati on the face. The police say he then allegedly suffocated her with a pillow. Sumant later tried to wake up his wife but found her unresponsive. He allegedly then panicked and contacted his mother, telling her what had happened and also sending her a message. After receiving the message, Sumant was found hanging from a ceiling fan in the wall, while Padmavati was found dead inside the residence. Working as a civil engineer at a private company in Bengaluru, and his wife Padmavati was 29 and a native of Hubli. She worked at a case say that their relationship had been under strain. According to preliminary investigation, the couple had frequent fights. Police have also pointed to Sumant's work commitments and his frequent absence from home as factors that had caused tensions between them. Well, now what do we know about the investigation so far? The Rajagopal Nagar police station, they have registered a case and the bodies have been shifted to the Victoria Hospital for post-mortem examinations. Police are saying that there was another relevant people. Police have described a sudden burst of anger following the argument as the immediate trigger, while stressing that all aspects of the case are still being investigated. The exact circumstances and cause of Padmavati's death will also be established through the post-mortem examination. So at this stage, investigators are piecing together the sequence of events from the domestic argument to Padmavati's death, Sumant's message to his mother and his subsequent death by suicide. With that, let's in fact take a look at such similar cases look at some of the similar cases to give you a background of what all has already happened before. In Bengaluru itself, July 2026, a 28-year-old man, Manoj, allegedly strangled his wife, Swapna, also 28, after an argument. So this is a July 2026 incident. The police are saying that he used a nylon dog leash and later died by suicide using the same leash. So he also died by suicide after allegedly murdering his own wife. The couple had been married for around 3 years and lived in Bengaluru. And the police are in fact stating that that also happened because of a domestic dispute. Let's look at another example from Bengaluru again. March 2026, 31-year-old Dipanta Sabara allegedly killed his 27-year-old wife Manjula following a domestic dispute. So over here as well, the wife is being murdered allegedly by the husband after a domestic dispute. He subsequently died by suicide at their rented house, and the police recovered a selfie video and a suicide note as well. So we are seeing very similar patterns being drawn across these cases. Let's look at another case, this time from Delhi. It has been reported in July 2026. 28-year-old Vinay allegedly killed his 24-year-old wife Nisha following a dispute. Again, the couple, in fact, the dispute was linked to suspicion about her speaking to another man. So another domestic dispute that is coming to the fore behind this tragic murder-suicide case, and police say that he struck her with a battery and subsequently consumed poison. So this is what the police are saying regarding this particular case. Let's look at a case from Raebareli in Uttar Pradesh of November 2025, where 32-year-old Bhimraj allegedly killed his 28-year-old wife Soni Devi during a domestic dispute. And this happened when the police are saying that after that he also died by suicide, and the couple had been married for 13 years and also had 3 children. So these are time-tested couple. They have children, they have a family, they've built their life together, and unfortunately we are looking at such incidences actually rising through this. So we'll take this discussion forward. Let's talk about why such cases are rising and why are we seeing such reports actually coming to the fore. Joining us in this discussion is Dr. Swati Jindalkar. She is an advocate of the Supreme Court. Sanjay Sahai, He's a former ADGP, Karnataka, and Dr. Mohit Sharma. He's a psychiatrist. Thank you. I welcome all of you to this discussion and I thank you for your time. A very good evening to all of you. Let me start off this discussion with Mr. Sahai. Mr. Sahai, I want to understand firstly your observations regarding this case, and also I want to understand and pick your mind about how the police or the investigative authorities actually look at such cases, because these cases become murder cum suicide cases. We do not have the victim, we do not have the alleged perpetrators as well. So, in such cases, how do the authorities proceed with the probe?
Till today, we don't have a category of spousal killing as far as the National Crime Data Records is concerned. So, broadly, everything is treated as a normal murder, and accordingly, the investigation goes on. What is very, very disturbing in recent times with the coming of this nuclear family, the variety of issues related to urban living. I think when the relationship deteriorates, there is no family members who are there to support you. And the community support and also the governmental support is as good as missing. In addition to that, if we talk of mental stress and somehow get connected to the mental health, I think that itself is not forthcoming and there is a huge amount of stigma which is attached to it. So primarily you reach the stage where you're not able to control your emotions and there is complete hopelessness, and the only way out, you're basically entrapped into that situation. So and you finally come up with a killing of this nature. So it's both entrapment and hopelessness. There is no support at the family level because only two people or the kids are living, and there is nobody who is in a position of investigation. Certainly, there will be lots of issues. We are talking about the dispute related to property, that is their house, and also related to his absence and things of that nature. So, might be on a general level, things would be deteriorating, not to this stage, on a regular level, which people will be able to corroborate. The digital evidence also of last 3 months, 6 months, or the number of years they have been married would also provide as to number of years they have been married would also provide as to what the relationship was and whether there were such sorts of stresses and strains, which was basically something which could not be repaired. As far as the investigation of these cases are concerned, so it primarily happens to be a murder case and then a suicide case. Now, what do you investigate? You get into the investigation into all the things related to what caused the murder, and that also somehow explains the suicide part of it also. So we'll get into the digital evidence, we'll get into the motive, we will get into whatever digital forensics can provide, and whether it was something which is sudden and provocative or it has a long-standing relationship. Not that much of a difference it will make, because there is the exception of sudden provocation in murder. But as far as this is concerned, that does not apply. It is only of a theoretical value. It does not apply for the simple reason the accused himself is not there. And when these cases are charge sheeted, we file what we call as await charge sheet, which means the accused itself is no more. And then it remains just a technical issue and it is accepted by the court and things move forward. So no correctional stuff is being taken. Either at the legal community, police finally turns out to be something which has happened indoors. And this turns as another murder case. But what correctional issue should happen, that is certainly not happening.
Absolutely. Mr. Sai, I'll come back to you with what you expect can be some corrective measures that can be taken. But let's get in a word from Dr. Sharma as well. Dr. Sharma, a lot of issues were raised by Mr. Sahai during his narrative. He's talked about how there is lack of support system that may or may not lead to such kind of circumstances. He's also spoken about the pressure that the couples face in today's world. I want to understand from you, Dr. Sharma, we are seeing a rise in such cases over the years. Why do you think that is happening, and how do we stop the society from going to the edge? Basically, why aren't people turning more towards counseling, towards seeking help when it is needed?
Simply, we cannot put everything in for this case in every aspect, but we can see there is definitely rising in that simple, which we can see as a simple household disputes. They become extreme, and that becomes an extreme outcomes. What we need to understand that ordinary conflicts can escalate in extreme emotional arousal and loss of behavioral control, and potentially catastrophic decision making can happen. This concept is called affective dysregulation. When there, as per WHO, it says anger, humiliation, and perceived injustice is there, and it becomes so intense that a person has lost the ability to regulate his behavior, and the judgment that what the consequences will happen to this. Their judgment becomes so narrow during that time. But though it is not considered as a automatically as a mental illness, and that's a separate thing altogether. But today's world, what we are seeing, that emotional regulation is becoming very narrow. During small conflicts can become take to a very severe consequence. And in the relationship issues, we can see that yes, suicide among suicides, the relationship conflicts, as per NCVRB data 2023, it is the very major reported circumstance which is having. If we go into the reasons for that, masculinity, maybe entitlement, there might be reasons. We can see multiple times that some conflicts or domestic violences have happened in the past also. And sometimes we see there is a rigid thinking, and there is a control or entitled feeling of entitlement is there, that my partner must obey me. I cannot see the rejection part. There also, when it is also associated with harmful use of some alcohol, or some, say there are previous episodes of violence, such episodes may occur more frequently in such, chances may increase in these circumstances.
Right, some very valid points raised by you, Dr. Sharma. I also want to get your observations regarding this very particular instance where there are reports stating that he might have panicked, and after panicking, when he couldn't get his wife to respond after that initial phase of, like you're saying, emotional outburst, then he called up his mother, he sent her a message, he told her about the dispute that has happened, and later on they find him actually dead in the same apartment. I want to understand, Dr. Sharma, what can go through someone's mind when we are dealing with such arguments, when we are dealing with such kind of a panicked situation?
That time the degree of the problem is not the couples are having disagreement. The problem is that some people are becoming less capable of handling those disagreement, and they keeps on escalating it. And the consequence of that things may not come into their mind. The thing is that I want to win the argument. I want to just control this situation. That is the major point might be in his mind, that I just want, it's an all or none phenomena are there, that either way, my way, or there will be, I will finish everything in this circumstance. In an acute emotional state, the person's psychological world has become very narrow. The problem are objectively seen as that solution is this only, and other possible solutions are temporarily becomes ineffective, or they feel like that other nothing can occur, other than this can happen, can be possible.
It's very interesting how people do not see any other alternative and they take such extreme actions. Dr. Swati Jindal Garg, I want to get your observations as well. Why do you think that such domestic arguments, sometimes very petty arguments, leading to such extreme results, ma'am?
Well, Shivani, you need to understand that these may on the surface appear to be very petty arguments, but this is actually the last straw that has broken the camel's back. So one drop at a time keeps adding up, and one day the bucket overflows. And we don't know when that day will come. So the problem today, what I understand is, because we also take up a lot of matrimonial disputes, and have seen these kind of little petty issues escalating into very, very serious crimes. The reason is that, see, till now, most of the families, especially in the Indian context, used to live in a joint family scenario. So what used to happen is that out of sheer what we call as lihaz, or what will the other relative think, or what will my bhabhi think, and the mother interfering, so on and so forth, the things used to just at least calm down, or the two spouses who were fighting would go two separate ways, two different rooms, and one of the relatives would intermediate. Now, with the onset of the nuclear family culture, where both the people in the couple, they are both earning, and there are no kids, double income, no kids, as we all know it, the dink philosophy or culture. Now there is no buffer in between them. They are living separately. There is nobody to discuss their problems with. The work aspect is also so stressed that they don't have that. For the men, they don't have that old boy, the club where they would sit and drink together and use it as a stress buster. The women are also running dual lives. They are not only taking care of the house more, because we all know, see, in today's patriarchal society, no matter how much we say that the work culture has been divided between the man and the woman, that still remains, that equal division of labor is not there. So most often than not, what is happening is the woman is taking care of the house also, plus she has the added responsibility of going out and making a career for herself. So she has no time to socialize or to sort of chit chat with somebody. And there comes a time when she feels that, oh my God, this whole scenario is bad, and only I am in this world is a person who's unhappy. Same time, people also have a habit of checking in this Instagram, social media, thinking that, my God, look at this, everybody is enjoying their lives, and the only sad story is mine in the whole world. So this blown up appreciation of the rest of the world's happiness that we see on Instagram, coupled with the fact that how terrible we feel in our own isolated selves, the fact that there is no one to discuss our problems with, and oh, my life is not going anywhere. And then, all these small things that, why did you not pack a better tiffin for me? Or what do you do? You're not earning enough. Look, I'm struggling here. You do not give enough. All these things, they keep adding up. And one fine day, there is, like I say, a bomb blast. And that bomb blast, when it is there, after all, we're all humans. You don't know how a person will react. And they do react, and inadvertently, most often than not, they end up doing something that is irreparable. And this appears to be one of such cases where we can clearly see here another point that we need to realize is the very small gap between the death of these two people. We don't know what happened first. We have no idea. So it is difficult to ascertain at this stage as to who has died first, who was the aggressor, who was the victim. Was it just the person who was a victim of circumstances and none of them actually wanted to kill each other? But it's a very sad state. And I think these problems will keep on rising in today's extremely isolated platform that we have. And I would say, based on this and the stress level that everybody is facing, that it does seem that the joint family scenario, after all, was, we can say that old wasn't old.
Absolutely. And Dr. Garg, maybe that overarching societal problem that we are facing currently, if we keep that aside, I want to understand from you, is there a scope for justice? Because here both the families of the husband and the wife will be devastated. It's led to an end that nobody obviously was expecting.
Justice is that pot at the end of the rainbow. It is extremely illusionary. We don't know what justice is. Nobody has been able to define justice. Justice is probably different ends for different people, and the way it ends, and by the time it comes in today's lethargic judicial system, it might be too late, too little, too late. Now, both the families are alleging that the other spouse has done it. We don't, like I said, the time gap between the two deaths is so small that it is difficult to ascertain who went first. So, irrespective of whose fault it is, the fact remains that two families have lost, their dear ones. And at this stage, Shivani, how do we ascertain what justice would be? No matter what happens, you can't bring back the dead.
Right.
What is
That's
gone
right.
is already gone. And it is the only thing that at this stage we can endeavor is that, these things should not. If you see the brief history, you will see that these things are they're more and more frequent now. Almost every second day, I seem to be giving these small bits upon what should have been done and how we can sort of avoid it. But heartbreakingly, it is happening literally every day today.
Absolutely, a very pertinent point raised by you, Dr. Garg. Let me take that across to Mr. Sai. Mr. Sai, now that we are seeing this happen more frequently, I want to understand from you, do you believe there are certain corrective measures that can be taken? Because this seems to be an overarching societal problem that we are facing maybe.
There can be correctional measures. Undeniably, there is no societal problem which has no solution. But I'll start with something very, very controversial, and I've been talking about it for a long, long time in private conversation, that every man or a woman or a boy or a girl, I don't think is psychologically fit to get married. Because marriage means huge amount of responsibilities, and in the Indian condition, we have decided that everybody needs to get married and everybody is forced to get married and everybody has fun and frolic in the marriage celebrations, and we feel that we have fulfilled our responsibility of the son or the daughter, as the case may be. A psychological test before marriage would not be out of place, because the nature of responsibilities which you are supposed to show, number one. Point number two is the extreme level of isolation. So it is not only that it is a nuclear family, it is just two people who are living together in a completely isolated, cosmopolitan sort of an atmosphere with no help and support coming. And most of the times we don't find people having any constructive and positive hobbies. I don't think the time which they have for themselves, they can afford such hobbies. Or impoverished as far as hobbies and different good things in life, creative things in lives are concerned. We are extremely happy and satisfied as long as we can make both ends meet and you have an apartment, some sort of a vehicle and things of that nature. So there are no parallel groups where you can get into. And this nuclear family, I think both boy and the girl, they have generally decided that you keep away from the rest of your family. So the first thing which they want is to establish something which is of their own, and they don't want anybody to interfere. Whatever Hindu families were, that there would have been a nuclear family supported by people from outside, which means there are a large number of nuclear families might be of the same age and same group, and then one of the earlier generation and might be of the next generation is supporting each other. And there are families of that nature in this country today. There is no denying the fact that they live in nuclear families, but they come to each other's help and rescue, and they're able to resolve large number of issues, but they are few and far between. Next, we come to the community issues. I think community participation in social life is turned out to be zero, and I would go a step further. Might be, as far as the Hindu families are concerned, it is hardly missing, because we don't have that concept of a church which brings together and there is some membership of a religious body. So Hindus are on their own and you go and perform your religion. So that community feeling itself is not there. Some places it happens. There are a couple of communities where it happens, but generally is missing. And community living also, or being a part of the community and somebody providing you support by nature of counseling, and you also reach a level of confidence where you are able to open yourself, that is certainly missing. Now the last and the final thing is the government. Now government, for whatever it has been proclaiming, has nothing worth discussing with regards to mental health and counseling, which has provided the support system has. The understanding of any human being today, if we land in such sort of a situation, which is purely psychological in nature, because of whatever reasons might be, I don't think the governmental support system provides any recourse wherein you can go to a counselor, you can maintain your privacy, and you get a solution, and you can keep continuing. And there are people who are coming out of that sort of a psychological situation and coming back to normal life. Additionally, we find in the Western Europe, we find in Europe and the US and all that, if you have any mental issue, mental stress, you just put a leave application in the same way as a physical ailment, and then you are provided that leave and you go wherever you desire to, and you get that sort of a support. So getting leave for mental issues also, and mental issue does not mean insanity or anything, any
Right.
stress related to, So that itself is missing. I don't think I've seen in my 32 years of career in the government that anybody coming to me and telling me, sir, I'm mentally disturbed or some issues and I need some, I've not heard of anybody. We started
Absolutely.
some psycho,
Let me in fact take that across to Dr. Sharma. Dr. Sharma, this is the thing that is lacking. Today nobody wants to come, there isn't a provision as well for the pressure, the kind of pressure that people are actually facing in their professional lives, maybe even in their domestic lives. But do you agree that there should be maybe an analysis before you take up a responsibility such as marriage? Let's not also talk about marriage, let's also just talk about why the say for example individual couples are taking such drastic steps. Dr. Sharma.
Yes, definitely. As the WHO has given public health approach, that simply saying that after having a violence, just stay calm, just don't escalate, just stay calm, and don't just disturb your marriage is not a great thing. Prevention has to be moved not from just the 5 minute of crisis, but it should be the first sign of the crisis which we have to identify. Before violence, if I go step by step, before violence, I will say relationship education and emotional regulation that needs to be taught first. And if we find some early warning signs, like some threats are there, like killing, I will kill you, or I will die if you do such things, and some controlling behavior has been identified, escalating anger or substance use, then we should have a clinical intervention here. Some psychiatric assessment or some risk of suicide or violence to the partner assessment, some individual therapy assessment, or some substance use disorders assessment should be there. And if there is a acute danger is there, we find that there is a safety is concerned, then separation should be the primary, that or emergency services should be in place there. And if such crises happen, then trauma intervention, rehabilitation, and the legal support should be provided immediately.
All right. Before I close this up, quickly I want to Dr. Swati Jindal Garg also to come in with her views regarding if there can be solutions to such problems that we are facing right now.
Shivani, the kind of atmosphere we live in, I think we still have, like Mr. Sahai said, I still have a long, long way to go before a person can admit even to himself that he has psychological issues. The stigma surrounding mental health is so much so that none of us, no matter how educated we get, are willing to seek external. Beautifully put, we should, all of us, inculcate some hobbies, try to understand that life is much more than just living, earning, and sleeping. Inculcate a definite hobby in our life so that we can also be surrounded by positive minded friends who would help us look at our problems objectively and make us realize that we are not the only unhappy ones in this world. Because the moment we realize that everybody is in this shit together, I think we become less sad. That is how human mind works.
All right. I thank you, Dr. Garg, Dr. Sharma, and Mr. Sahai for your valuable perspective on this issue. With that, we are closing off this segment of the bulletin.